Hello everyone, welcome back. I haven't done one of these in a while. This is another creepypasta, of course, because I'm starting to run out of ideas at this point. Today is Kości. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, because I'm not going to look for any answers. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this, and this is another hijacking one. You know, like the one from 12 Minutes. It's another creepypasta if you haven't read it. So, anyway, I hope you enjoy this one. Leave a like if you liked it or something. And, this one takes place in Poland, which is where some of my friends are from. Anyway, I hope you enjoy Kości. And that's the photo. On the night of the 30th of January, 1986, months after the infamous Telewazis Solzhenitsyn incident, I have definitely mispronounced that, I am sorry. In September, TVP's program Perswiski, Program 1, experienced a TV hijacking in which mysterious text, together with creepy music and imagery, was broadcasted during closed down. This hijack was allegedly related to a mass suicide in a small Polish town that left many of its inhabitants dead, and it's unknown where the town is located, but it is speculated to be near Krakow, according to local reports. And it was shown at midnight. Few people managed to view the unsettling broadcast, with many experiencing nightmares as a result of seeing this. Below is the account from one of the viewers, who wishes to go under the name GL to protect his identity. The account. This incident goes all the way back to my college years, when I was studying architecture in one of the Warsaw top universities in the 1980s. This was when Poland was still the Polish People's Republic, or when it was still under communist regime. Back then, I used to spend time watching shows on Program Perswiski, or Program 1, on a small Sony TV that I bought myself for my dorm. When I wasn't studying, I was doing homework. The TV also came with a free Betamax as well, something that wasn't easily available in Poland at the time. Using the Betamax, I was able to get good clips of my favorite programs using fresh tapes that were used for VHS/Betamax, such as this particular broadcast that I was talking about now. One January night, I was watching a show from Czechoslovakia, I'm sorry I'm being a bit of a nerd here, but Czechoslovakia was when Czech Republic and Slovakia joined together from 1922, after the First World War, but it was also under communist regime until the Soviet Union collapsed, and before Czech and Slovakia became two different countries on December 31st of 1992. Sorry for going on like this. While lying in bed, I was slowly dozing off and trying not to completely fall asleep. It was 11:30 p.m. when the show began, but I wanted to press on anyway. Because apart from this show, there was nothing on the TV could help me stay awake at midnight. The Betamax was still left on for about an hour, so I rewatched the episode of my VHS tape. Overall, nothing was going out of the ordinary, but what happened next is where it gets dark. So, once the show ended, it cuts to an announcer wishing a good night before cutting to tomorrow's TV schedule for Program 1 in Drugi. Finally, the sign-off anthem. As the channel sign-off always does every day, the Polish national anthem plays in the background as the screen features a white polygon, which is supposed to represent the borders of Poland, and the coat of arms inside the polygon in a blue background, when the screen zoomed into the Polish coat of arms. However, the scene abruptly cut to black, and a low droning noise can be heard after 3 seconds. I was about to grab the remote control on the table to turn off the TV, until I heard a loud, distorted beep. This beep was accompanied by the red screen that flashed in 3-second intervals. For every red screen that flashed each time, the beeps grew increasingly louder until it cut to the same screen. Only this time it was saying, "Twoja wina, your fault." A voice was heard, but it was muffled and distorted. That was more or less impossible to make out what he was saying. Then it cut to a distant view of what happens to be a town. Judging by the fact that there was a church tower in the distance, the camera zoomed towards the church tower before cutting to inside the town, where some bodies could be seen lying on the road. During this time, the sound of blowing wind and eerie synth music could be heard. I considered turning off the TV before I saw the worst of it, but in the end, I had no choice but to watch the rest of the broadcast, expecting something in store for myself. The most disturbing part of the broadcast wasn't the hijacking itself. It then showed a group of bodies scattered around the churchyard. They were all lying flat on the ground, some of them crumpled and some were lying face down. I don't know about you, but this unsettling clip in this broadcast reminded me of Jonestown, which occurred 6 years prior. The corpses in the churchyard lay in the similar fashion of that to the Jonestown victims. It didn't help that there were some children lying with the others too. The video cuts to a child, presumably a little boy, nestled in the lap of a dead woman sitting on the wall, seemingly falling asleep. I spotted some cyanide pills next to the woman, as I started to wonder if this was some kind of mass hysteria going on at that town. For a split second, the screen began twitching violently. It then showed a close-up of a white tablet laying on some concrete pavement. By this time, the synth music has stopped and was replaced with the sounds of muffled crying and singing, which I assume was a dirige of some sort. The camera focused on the tablet for 6 seconds before zooming out, revealing a dead boy lying on the pavement. He was crumpled on the ground with his clothes and hair messed up and flies swarming his body. He seemed to be quite malnourished, as if the dead boy was his mother, as the dead kid was with his mother, couldn't get any more worse than the maggots wriggling around his body, implying that he'd died a few days before. I had to cover myself in a blanket while peering at the TV. Text below his body appeared saying, "Sosiksali," which literally means happy in Poland. Then a stack of O's and slashes divided into 3 columns was shown. Honestly, I have no idea what this means, but I assume this is some kind of subliminal messaging after this horrific clip. It cut back to the same distant view of the town before, only this time it was focusing on a row of houses. The same garbled letter stack is shown once more as Morse code could be heard in the background. After running it through a decoder, the code spelled out Sikora I Kości, which means skin and bone in Polish. Eventually, the screen twitched again before cutting to a blue screen, and later a test card, thus concluding the broadcast. After watching this, I could not take it anymore and turned off the TV for most of the night. I mostly slept with myself covered in a blanket, still thinking about the dead boy in the broadcast. The next day, questions about the disturbing broadcast went around my head, still begging me to figure out what kind of sick nightmare I just watched. I told my friends about the broadcast yesterday, and all of which just shrugged off as lies. Only the Betamax recording that I have managed to save them. Did manage to convince them that it really happened. No questions asked. For my friends also, they had no word to say about this broadcast. But one of my friends speculated that this broadcast could be some sort of work of solidarity. I probably screwed that up. It's solidarity. There we go. Not to mention that the hijacked TVP 4 months ago, it was solidarity. God damn it. Solidarity. Screw it. They may be trying to get their message across of the mass suicide in the town seen in the broadcast. Presumably... Oh, Jesus, I'm sorry. Presumably, the hijackers were trying to pin the blame on Prime Minister Jurliski for the incident that happened there. Deniski Telewiski's Jesus Christ, as well as Tribuna Ludu, Poland's state-run news programs and newspapers at the time, never reported on the broadcast that happened yesterday. although there was local newspapers around the vicinity of the town in the broadcast that managed to give out uncensored and detailed information of the incident. Either way, it's been years since the disturbing kiosk incident that happened back in 1985. So far, the hijackers have never been captured, and apart from the account that I wrote, no other information about this broadcast has been found. I have since moved on from the incident onwards, but for the others who saw it that fateful day, it's no doubt that it'll stay with them forever. J.L., October 13th, 2002. Jesus Christ, I was not expecting that. I should really double check what I'm reading at times. But if you enjoyed this creepypasta, I am not judging you, then you do that. And I definitely screwed up most of the names there. I am sorry, I am not really good with Polish, because I've never spoke the language before. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this, and if there's any other stories that I would like to tell, I'll search for them to see if there's any good ones, or ones that probably are well known, or obscure if you're into that. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed. This is Lucas signing off for the night. Goodbye.